What if the face you trust in the mirror isn't yours anymore? What if, in a single blink, the reflection learns to step out and take your place? This is a story about fractured identities, broken reflections, and the quiet terror of realizing the world hasn't changed, but only the people in it have.
At the beginning of the film, we meet Gina, a radiologist examining x-rays where a patient's organs is completely reversed. His heart is on the right side instead of the left. The discovery unsettles her. However, she chooses to ignore it. Later that evening, Gina attends her father's birthday dinner with her boyfriend Steven and their friends. During the celebration, a mirror suddenly falls and shatters, to which Kat quietly warns that mirror breaking on its own is never a good sign. However, everyone is briefly startled, but they quickly dismiss it as an accident. The following day, Gina begins to feel that something is wrong. At work, she senses someone watching her, but when she checks, no one is there. Yet upon returning, she finds her coffee spilled and her assistant missing. Moments later, Anthony walks in and is shocked that he just saw her outside the building. But Gina insists she never left her office. Nevertheless, Anthony is certain he saw her. Disturbed by this contradiction, Gina heads home only to spot a woman who looks exactly like her driving away in another car. Shocked, she follows the stranger to her apartment where she discovers photographs of herself and her father. Terrified, she flees. But on her way home, she gets into a serious car accident and is rushed to the hospital. Although doctors fear brain damage, she regains consciousness quickly. So her doctor recommends therapy, explaining that head trauma can trigger psychological disorders. After returning home, Gina notices Steven had removed all the mirrors. But why? She doesn't know, and Steven won't tell why. Later, as Gina relaxes on her bathtub, Gina starts remembering strange things about her accident. Then, she notices water dripping from the ceiling, to which she goes upstairs to check, but is soon startled by her boyfriend, Steven, who promises to fix it the next day. That night, Gina feels that after the mirror broke, all her family members have changed. Steven seems different, almost like a devil. Then, she sees blood dripping from the ceiling instead of water and starts reliving her accident. But just then, she wakes up and it's just a dream. Then she goes to the bathroom mirror to dress her wounds. As she leans closer, her own reflection suddenly appears and starts attacking her, to which Gina jolts awake. And she was still dreaming. Convinced something is deeply wrong, Gina visits Dr. Robert and confesses that Steven no longer feels like himself. Disturbed, she suspects all of this is happening because of her accident. So she tells him that she has some photographs and doesn't remember when she took them, and that she doesn't understand what is happening with Steven. Moreover, she feels Steven is not her real boyfriend. Instead, he looks like Steven, but he isn't him. However, the doctor says all of this is happening because of memory issues and that everything will become normal once she recovers. Next, to regain her memory, Gina goes to see her crashed car. There, she sits inside and tries to remember everything, but instead she is distracted by two identical dogs fighting with each other. Meanwhile, the situation escalates. Elsewhere, Gina's father is at the embassy, while at the same time someone identical to him is seen elsewhere by his assistant. Yet, he denies ever leaving the building. However, the assistant insists she saw him outside and wonders why he is lying. Then, as he walks into the restroom, he comes across a mirror shattered on the floor, but no one knows who broke it. Elsewhere, Kat keeps trying to call Daniel, but he doesn't answer instead, lost in his painting, disconnected from everything else. Later, while showering, Kat suddenly senses someone in the apartment. At once, a shift in the air, a presence. So, she assumes Daniel has come home and calls out to him, but there is no response. Suddenly, a girl identical to her lunges forward and brutally kills her. Moments later, we see the bathroom mirror lying shattered on the floor, the same mirror in which Kat had just looked at herself. Meanwhile, on the other side, Gina returns to that same house and then heads to the metro with the photo of her and her father. When the train reaches her station, she steps out into the crowd. Suddenly, someone bumps into her, and a photograph slips from her hand onto the platform, but she manages to grab it just in time. Next, she goes to meet her dad and tells him she saw a girl who looks exactly like her the other day and found pictures of him and herself in that girl's flat. So, she asks him how those pictures got there. However, her dad doesn't know how.
Disappointed, Gina returns to her apartment and finds water still dripping from the ceiling. Thinking Steven is upstairs repairing the leak, she goes up but freezes. There, she finds Steven's dead body. Then, panicked, Gina calls her dad and blurts out everything. Immediately, he suggests calling the police. But behind her, a man who looks identical to Steven stands ready to strike. Elsewhere, before Gina's father, John, can call the police, his own double lunges attacks and kills him. Terrified, Gina senses Steven's presence around her and locks herself in the bathroom. However, Steven breaks the lock and forces his way inside. But Gina escapes through the bathroom window. Then, desperately, uses the roadside phone to call her brother Daniel and tells him their lookalikes are hunting them. But Daniel doesn't understand and thinks she's joking. Frantically, she tries to explain that Steven is no longer the real Steven, he's his double. Also, she tells him something terrible has happened to their dad and that she saw her own double before the accident and followed her to her house. But when Daniel hears the address, he freezes, because that address is her own house. Abruptly, a mirror bursts. As Daniel turns, the floor shines with broken light. Then, a soft scrape comes from the bathroom. Inside, Kat is cleaning blood. When he speaks, her gaze lingers, staring at him strangely. Meanwhile, Gina goes back to the flat again and asks the guard for a spare key to her apartment. Inside, she finds her double brutally killed. Shaken, she feels a surge of grief. Then, she remembers, when the bathroom mirror broke, her double crossed into the real world, followed her to her workplace, and later waited for her at home and killed her. Now, the truth becomes clear: the Gina we've been watching was never the real Gina. Instead, she was the double who killed Gina and took her place. Then, she checks her X-ray and realizes her organs are reversed. Clearly, doubles have reversed organs. In the final scene, Daniel arrives and instantly knows the woman standing before him isn't his sister. Only then does the full truth click into place. When the mirror shattered during dinner, its effect fell on everyone at the table. One by one, their doubles crossed over, hunted them down, and took their places, except Daniel. His survival wasn't heroic, but accidental. He was so lost in his painting that he never heard the mirror shatter, so his double never crossed. And the final sting? This wasn't the first time. The patient with reversed organs at the beginning proves the cycle had already begun. So the curse doesn't end here. It waits for the next crack in the glass.
With that, the movie ends. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.